Anna Kendrick,
I can't concentrate on anything you're saying until you cover your jaw.
space algae, and deadly amounts of radiation. Netflix's Stowaway, or Amazon Prime if you're in Canada, I don't know how that works, is the latest sci-fi original showing us just how amazing space can be.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
In this video, we'll be taking a deep dive into its ending, some of the film's major themes, and at the end, I'll explain how one minor change could have made this ending far more emotional. So make sure to strap yourselves in and like and subscribe, or else my parents will throw me out of the airlock, and by airlock I mean basement. Meet the crew of MTS-42, the 42nd flight from Earth to Mars put together by a company called Hyperion. In Greek mythology, Hyperion was the god of heavenly light, the son of Uranus and Gaia, who were gods of heaven and earth respectively. Although we only see Mars extremely briefly near the end of the film, humanity has established a small outpost with scientists and astronauts currently conducting research there. The MTS-42, or Mars Transfer Shuttle, is transferring Commander Marina Barnett and two scientists, David Kim and Zoe Levinson. This is Marina's third and final trip to Mars, with David and Zoe along for the ride as graduates and winners of HARP, or Hyperion Academic Research Program. David's research focuses on biology, while Zoe's on medicine, as she says,
"Well, space exploration has always led to amazing medical discoveries that are applicable to the people on Earth."
Within the first few minutes, we get the sense something is a little off with the mission. During takeoff, the main engines seem to be underperforming, and the ship is already off trajectory. That's because we'll later learn the ship has an unexpected passenger by the name of Michael Adams, a Hyperion engineer who passed out while making some last-minute adjustments to the ship, and no one was like, "Hey, has anyone seen Michael?" But when Marina finds Michael unconscious within the carbon dioxide removal assembly, a piece of equipment that removes CO2 from the ship, he inadvertently shorts the entire system, meaning that the crew, with its now 4 members, will die of carbon monoxide poisoning before reaching their destination. To make matters worse, they simply can't return back to Earth. Marina says they're moving too fast, and they don't have enough fuel to turn around. This is bad news for Michael, who cares for his younger sister and will miss the new season of The Mandalorian. Marina exhausts all options, even asking David, who's a known phycologist, which is the scientific study of algae, to use his plants he was saving for Mars in an effort to get rid of the CO2. All his years of work building up to this research will be gone, but it's a sacrifice he's willing to make to ensure they all survive. And sacrifice is one of the film's biggest themes, as we'll get to in a bit. Unfortunately, the second batch of algae which David puts together fails, and the crew is once again faced with the dilemma that they only have enough air to get 3 of them to Mars alive. If those 3 are to live, one of the 4 has to die. Of course, they decide not to tell Michael about this, with Commander Marina giving them and the ground crew back home 10 days to figure out an alternative solution before something drastic must be done. But David, believing there is no alternative, tells Michael the situation and gives him a needle to basically kill himself. But things get even worse for the crew when the first batch of algae dies, meaning all of them will die unless they find a way to get supplemental oxygen. Luckily for them, the Kingfisher, the rocket they're tethered to, which is basically slingshotting them to Mars, may have some leftover oxygen in it, but they'll have to make the arduous journey along the tether and down the side of the rocket as they fly through space to get to it. Both David and Zoe agree to make the trek, seeing as Michael has no training and Marina's arm broke when Michael fell on her at the beginning. The ship's use of centripetal force, in which the 2 ends of the craft, the Kingfisher here and the Hyperion here, rotate around the center's solar arrays. They create a type of artificial gravity for the astronauts, where the force is greater near the ends. I hope I got that right, or else I'm gonna have a lot of angry astrophysicists in my comments.
No, it's 3.14.
Oh,
You idiot, you didn't know that?
Tapping into the rocket's oxygen supply is short-lived when the crew is alerted to an incoming solar storm, leaving them 20 minutes to get back safely and not enough time to finish filling the 2 tanks they need to survive. And on her way back, Zoe loses the only canister of oxygen they were able to retrieve,
You idiot.
leaving the entire crew with no hope for survival, or so we think. About 3/4 of the way through the movie, Zoe tells a story about how she almost drowned saving a man when she was a lifeguard, but she was miraculously miraculously saved when a nearby boater pulled her out of the water. It's a story she tells to Michael about never giving up hope. It's ironic then that Zoe becomes that hope for the crew when she sacrifices herself to retrieve the last oxygen canister still attached to the rocket. But since it's leaking precious oxygen, she must brave the radioactive solar storm, killing herself in the process. We already mentioned why Michael and Marina couldn't do this, and David offers to go, but Zoe says he has a wife back home and that he should go back to her and make babies and send their kid off to Yale, her alma mater. Thus, she ends up braving the radioactive storm to save the entire crew. The ending shot here mimics the first shot of the film, only this time the camera is moving away from Zoe instead of onto her. And here Zoe dies staring at the faint red dot that is Mars in the distance. She never got to reach Mars, that thing she's been striving for her entire life, but in sacrificing her life she allows others to live out theirs. It's a tragic ending which for me lacked the emotional weight I think it was trying to pull. And this leads into my main critique of the film. While others may think this movie lacks action found in other films of the genre like Gravity or Life, it's not trying to be that movie. And as such, it relies on character. However, our main character doesn't have a character arc. The Zoe we meet at the beginning of the film is the same Zoe we see at the end. She hasn't learned anything or changed as a result of the journey she's been put on. If I were writing this movie and wanted Zoe to sacrifice herself at the end, it would be far more emotional if the Zoe we see at the beginning of the film was written to be the least likely person to sacrifice themselves. Maybe they're a coward or stubborn or put their work before everything else. Something so that when her sacrificial decision is made, we see the weight of it and that change in her character. Great character arcs always have this huge shift, like Luke Skywalker starting off as a cowardly farm boy on Tatooine to masterful fighter pilot, or Walter White, the innocent high school chemistry teacher, to drug kingpin.
You're goddamn right.
I have a whole video on Star Wars and character arcs which you should totally check out if you have the time. But what did you think of Stowaway? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. For more bad takes, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.